As anybody who hasn't been living under a rock for the past century will already know, around Christmas time, all of the classic Christmas songs start playing everywhere, and while everybody has their favorite, there's quite a few that are considered absolute, undisputed classics that could never be replaced. There are other songs, however, that are much more contentious in nature, either because some people don't think they're very good, don't have much to do with Christmas or winter in general, or for other reasons. And one of the most famous songs to fall into that last category is Baby It's Cold Outside. Once beloved and considered a staple around Christmas, the song has run into a lot of controversy in modern times, with some insisting it has sinister undertones while others defend it, arguing that people are reading too much into it, and others who really just don't care for the song one way or another. But regardless of which camp you fall into, the thing is that most people don't even know where the song came from in the first place. Because in short, the song actually comes from a forgotten musical released by MGM in the late 1940s titled Neptune's Daughter. And today, I'd like to go over this movie and the general history behind the song in order to perhaps help some people better understand the context behind it. And there will be some spoilers for this movie ahead, so in case you'd rather see it for yourself first and don't want anything ruined, you shouldn't proceed with this video. This is going to be the only spoiler warning I'll be giving out. Okay, so to start with a quick summary of the movie, Neptune's Daughter stars Esther Williams, an actress rather famous for her swimming in her day, Ricardo Montalban, Red Skelton, and Betty Garrett. The plot is about Williams playing a swimsuit designer who tries to keep her boy-crazy sister, played by Garrett, away from a Spanish polo pony team that's coming to play a big game. However, things get turned on their head when a shy masseuse, played by Skelton, is accidentally mistaken for the captain of the team by Garrett, and having no luck with women, he plays into this mistake for fear that she won't like him otherwise. But after getting wind of this, Williams gets into contact with the real captain of the team, played by Montalban, who doesn't know anything about Skelton's deception but goes along with it anyway after growing smitten with Williams and hopes to use the situation to charm her. So, to put it simply, the movie is very much a mistaken identity comedy and is definitely outdated in some regards. If I may be blunt, it's certainly no masterpiece. But this video isn't to discuss the merits of how good or bad the movie is, but simply to explain the origins of its most famous song. And that's where we get to the scene in question. Now earlier in the movie, Williams had gotten Montalban to agree to stop seeing her sister. But because he isn't the one actually dating her, she of course ends up going out with the quote, captain of the team again. And when Williams finds out, she storms over to Montalban's apartment determined to find her, who naturally is nowhere to be found. And once she accepts that, Montalban tries to persuade her to stay by breaking out into a song, Baby It's Cold Outside. Now, it's during this song that romance begins to blossom between the two and transitions the movie into its second half. And then when the song is over, it's sung all over again, but this time by Red Skelton and Betty Garrett's characters. Only, the roles here are reversed, with Skelton wanting to leave and then trying to get her to leave when he realizes it's his house, and her trying to stay by using the excuse that it's cold out. which is only used for further irony in both instances, as it's stated to be the middle of summer during the movie. Now, while the first use of the song is fine in getting the movie where it needs to go, it's honestly the second version that's much more memorable, because it's actually pretty funny, not only for the movie being meta enough to flip the gender dynamic completely on its head, but there's overall just some pretty funny gags, like the aforementioned moment of Skeleton putting on Garrett's hat and coat and leaving the house before realizing what he's doing, or just how plain aggressive, yes, mischievous Garrett is behaving throughout the number. But the funniest moment might just be the "what's in this drink" line, because rather than grabbing the glass she just poured, he instead picks up a vase with a plant inside and tries to drink from it before realizing his mistake. Seriously, if you can get past Skeleton's pretty bad attempt at a Spanish accent, which may or may not have been part of the point but can still be distracting, I would recommend you go check it out for yourself. But that being said, even if the first number is viewed in isolation, there's absolutely nothing malicious about it. It's simply two people who find each other attractive, basically flirting with each other. And the thing is, the song is actually considered a pretty accurate reflection of how men and women were expected to flirt in the 1940s. The man would make advances, while the woman, who usually did welcome them, would have to coyly refuse while blaming other things for her weakness to temptation, hence the excuses and blaming alcohol and the like. And in the context of the movie, their behavior only makes even more sense because he's spent the whole movie being a harmless, charming flirt trying to break the ice, while she's been doing everything in her power not to develop feelings for him because she thinks he's an insincere cad due to the whole misunderstanding with her sister. And that scene is where she starts failing on that front and is desperately trying to stop herself from falling for him. Basically, I can see how some might find the song a little, shall we say, strange nowadays. But especially if you look at it in the context of the movie, it's plain as day that it was written to be as innocent as possible. And that's not even getting into the second version, which just turns the whole thing completely on its head. But the irony here is, the song was never even supposed to be in the movie in the first place. The song that they were supposed to sing at that point was one called "Let Me Take You on a Slow Boat to China." But the censors of the era objected to that song and deemed it too suggestive, and thus told them to take it out. So in need of a new number, the songwriter looked to a song he had written but never published a few years back, one that he had specifically written for him and his wife to sing at parties. And the result was the classic "Baby, It's Cold Outside." And that's probably the reason some who watch the movie might find the transition into the song a bit strange, as that was never supposed to be the song sung in that scene. And because it had technically been written before the movie came out, it caused some controversy when it won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. Yes, that's right. "Baby, It's Cold Outside" actually won the Academy Award for Best Original Song all the way back in 1949, which should say a lot about how popular it really was back in the day. But the point is, the Academy stood by its decision, but thereafter changed the rules surrounding the award so that only songs that were written specifically for a movie and were not used in any capacity before said movie could be eligible for Best Original Song going forward. And for what it's worth, Esther Williams was quoted as saying that she felt Baby It's Cold Outside was way more suggestive than Let Me Take You on a Slow Boat to China. And I think most would be inclined to agree with her, especially with the controversy that surrounds the song today. So in the end, Neptune's Daughter may not be a great movie, that's definitely outdated in quite a few regards, but it's still the movie that gave us one of the more well-known and controversial winter-themed songs of the Christmas season. And furthermore, both times it's played in the movie go a long way in dispelling the claims that the song has anything malicious behind it, as it's played strictly for romance the first time and strictly for laughs the second. And once again, the behavior of the characters the first time it's sung only makes even more sense when you know what's been going on in the rest of the movie up until that point. But the problem is that when the song is sung in isolation, all of that context ends up lost. And as I've stressed in quite a few videos, context can be very important to many things surrounding a movie. And in this particular case, in order to truly appreciate the song, you'd not only have to watch the movie where it originally comes from, but also have a basic understanding of how men and women flirted back when the song was written. Now, one can also question if it's right for a song to need so much context in order for people to get what it's truly saying, which could most definitely be another fair argument against it, but I'm not even going to get into that. Okay, that's everything I had to say on that. So now I'd like to hear what you guys think. Do you believe that the controversy around Baby It's Cold Outside is overblown and that the movie from which it comes from only proves it? Or do you still believe it has its share of problems? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And like always, you don't have to agree with any opinions expressed in this video. You are absolutely free to love or hate the song as you please, and nobody can tell you you're wrong. And thank you all for watching. It's all greatly appreciated, and I hope to see you all next time.